Hey guys, welcome to Starsight. My name is Samya Vasa. I'm an astrologer and a tarot reader. Mercury is moving from Virgo to Libra on October 5th. Virgo is Mercury's home sign, also the sign of its exaltation, which means that Mercury is extraordinarily comfortable, capable, resourceful, well functioning in Virgo. And from this place of comfort and productivity, Mercury is moving to Libra on October 5th. Libra is the domain of Venus, which is a very different world. Now, when this shift is happening, Venus is in Leo, and Venus has been in Leo for a long time, I think since late July, because Venus went through a retrograde period, etc. So it's a strong Venus. It's an empowered Venus, but still Venus is not in its own home. And so Venus can't be as welcoming of Mercury as it could have been if it was in Libra or Taurus. Anyway, that's an added complexity. We won't explore that in this talk today. What I want to do today with this talk is explain to you what kind of change you will experience in your mental processing as Mercury moves from Virgo to Libra. Okay, so we won't be focusing too much on the actual transits and aspects that Mercury will make, or even this relationship between Mercury and its host Venus while it's in Libra. I just want to do more of a symbolic analysis of Mercury in Virgo and then Mercury in Libra. Okay, the way you can use this talk is, first of all, figure out your rising sign, figure out where Virgo and Libra are in your charts, what the house topics are for both signs, and that way you'll be able to apply these insights to those parts of your chart much better. Now, if all of this made zero sense to you, don't worry. Simply figure out your rising sign. You'll find a lot of free chart calculators online. Figure out your rising sign. Put your rising sign down in the comments, and I'll tell you which house topics Virgo and Libra correspond to for you in your chart. Okay. So, Mercury has been in Virgo since late August. I think that's correct. Yeah, late August. And it went through retrograde period while in Virgo, and now it's moving to Libra, and it's moving through Libra super fast. So it's going to be out of Libra in about 17 days, whereas it's spent 9 weeks in Virgo. So this is a very different scale also. Now, generally, Mercury retrogrades are 3 weeks, and they're difficult periods full of confusion and communications breaking down, etc. But because Mercury has been in its home while going through the retrograde period, this time the mood was very different. This time it was more like, you are in a great relationship, it's loving and it's perfect and it's everything you need it to be. And then you have a problem. But because the relationship is already so good, you use all of those strengths to work through your problem, and now your relationship is even better. So the problem has actually helped you. So the retrograde period of Mercury this time in Virgo was like that. These were problems that helped you get even better at whatever you were already good at. Also, when the relationship is already good and problem solving occurs at this kind of a level, it's not just the problem that's getting solved, it's even you who's getting healed. It's not just the relationship getting better, it's you as a person becoming clearer to yourself. So this Mercury retrograde in Virgo was like that, where in solving your problems, you were becoming clearer to yourself. You were becoming more available to yourself. So it's been a fantastic transit through Virgo these 9 weeks. Mercury rules the mind. It is all about mental processing. Mercury is a planet of exchange. It moves messages, it translates, it receives data, it understands it, it sorts it, it analyzes it, translates it, interprets it. Mercury is concerned with information, and Mercury is concerned with knowing what to do with information, translating it into knowledge. And if Mercury is working really well in your chart, or you have invested a lot of conscious effort in developing your Mercury placement, then Mercury also helps you convert knowledge into wisdom. So this journey from information to knowledge to wisdom, this is the journey that Mercury rules over in each of our lives. Now, when Mercury is moving through a particular sign, this journey is reflected through the archetypes of that particular sign. So we are all constantly doing this work of information, knowledge, wisdom. But sometimes, some months of the year, this work is happening through Virgo, and other times of the year this work is happening through Libra, and then it will happen through Scorpio. And so through these periods, the flavor of this mental processing is very different. The priorities are different. The pressure points are different. The yield is different. The productivity is different. So when Mercury was in Virgo, we were very focused on detail-oriented work. So things like embroidery, things like if I was painting, then I wasn't just concerned with, how does it look as a painting? I was interested in the components. Can I develop this line in more detail? What is this line doing? Even if it was a 1 centimeter long line in a 2 meters big painting, still I was concerned with that 1 centimeter. Every bit of the painting was sacred. For Mercury in Virgo, every bit of data is sacred, which is why people who have natally Mercury in Virgo, or even if you have your moon in Virgo, you have the tendency to get lost in details. You have the tendency of treating each bit of the landscape as important and valuable in itself, which is a beautiful thing, right? Our world, our societies would be so much better if we were able to treat each other with this kind of attention, if we were able to treat each problem with this kind of attention and love and sincerity. But at some level, it's also impractical. At some level, it also leads to control issues, because obviously we cannot deal with each line of the painting with all of this attention and sincerity. We'll never finish the painting. And this is where reality intervenes. And so Mercury in Virgo feels disadvantaged by reality. Mercury in Virgo feels rushed by the pressures of reality, because what it wants to do, it wants to revel in this love for every bit of data that comes in. Everything is interesting. to Mercury in Virgo. But what Mercury in Virgo has to learn is selectivity. It has to be able to say at some point, well, all of this data is amazing, valuable, nutritious, but I am going to write my paper, or I am going to extract these 3 things out of all of this data. I'm not going to be able to make a statement. I'm not going to be able to write a paragraph which does justice to the beauty of each and every bit of this landscape. This is the problem that Mercury in Virgo has to deal with. It wants to work with detail, but at some point it has to say, well, this is what it means. Now, so Mercury in Virgo can be very useful in certain professions and a big problem in others, right? So if you were a psychoanalyst, Mercury in Virgo is excellent, because that way you would have the capacity to treat each detail with the attention that it deserves. But if you were working as a painter of buildings, like if you were painting walls, Mercury in Virgo would be a problem, because you'd want to treat each wall as if it was a painting, and you couldn't do that. You would lose work, you would lose money. So while Mercury was passing through Virgo, whether you had Mercury in Virgo in your chart or not, you and I, we were all dealing with this tendency towards privileging detail. We were all being called to treat each detail with love and attention and interest. Now, when Mercury moves into Libra, the mood changes. Instead of detail-oriented thinking, we are going to start doing big picture thinking. So we're going to start stepping back from the painting and thinking, well, how do all of these details come together? This line looks really beautiful here. That figure is excellent there, but do they work together? When I step back from the painting, can I see it as one larger whole? Or even if, that may be too much to ask for, but do I at least see these details as harmonizing with each other? Libra being the airy home of Venus, the focus here is balance. The focus here is harmony, things coming together, things working together. Generally, the stereotype is that Libra is interested in equality and democracy, but actually, no, it's not equality, it's justice. It's not about everything being at the same level. It's not about everything being equal. It's about everything having the right relationship with each other. Everything being in a just and balanced relationship with one another. So what does that mean? Think of making a smoothie, right? You have 5 ingredients, but they don't all need to go in there in the same quantities. The coffee powder needs to be very little. The fruit needs to be much more. The milk may be less than the fruit, but more than the coffee. You get the picture, right? Whenever you're cooking a dish, you need a balance of flavors. You don't need everything to be put in the same quantity. So do you see the shift from Virgo to Libra? Virgo, we're thinking of each thing as so important. But in Libra, we're thinking of the overall balance of flavors. This dish needs rosemary, I don't have it, but overall, if I substitute this with that, if I do this, overall, is this dish tasting good? Then Mercury in Libra is successful. We're interested in things harmonizing with one another in the right relationship. Harmony can occur only when there is a right relationship between things. Now for Mercury in Libra, this question of what's right and what's not, it's a very principle based decision. For Mercury in Virgo, it's a very context based, context is probably not the right thing, it's a very substance based decision. So let's say that a Mercury in Virgo person is interviewing someone. It's in the moment how the detail comes through, that's what lends importance to it. So it's a very context specific, in the moment kind of importance. This is how you decide what means what. But for Mercury in Libra, it's not about the context as much as it is about the principle. So if I'm going in doing an experiment on trauma, then I already have a set of principles in place. I'll be listening for details that are about the jumbling of time. I'll be listening for details that are about that sound really difficult but are delivered in a very flat voice, which indicates to me that the person hasn't been able to process the experience. So my principles are already in place, and then when the details come in, I am slotting them in their different places of importance based on my principles. Whereas a Mercury in Virgo would not have that kind of processing. A Mercury in Virgo would just listen to each detail as it comes, sacred in itself. So with Mercury in Libra, our mental processing is now more principle based. We are thinking of the big picture, and we are thinking of how different components harmonize with one another or they don't. Now, because it's a Venusian world, we are all going to want more harmony than usual at the level of our mind. We are all going to want to do much more balancing than we usually do. Now, this can be a difficult transit for people who are not, for whom balance is not the right energy, for whom it's more like, I wake up when I need to, I go to sleep when I need to, I work when I can, they don't function in a pre-organized routine. Even for those people, it's going to be, at the one level, it's going to be their natural energy. On the other, there's going to be the energy of this transit, where they have to balance this tension between their natural energy and the kind of the kind of currents that are the kind of currents that are evolving around them. So sorry, that must have sounded really confusing. It's like, let's say I'm a person who needs warmth, but it's winter. So I have to balance my need for warmth with the reality that it's cold. It's like that. A person who doesn't do very well with this kind of harmonizing energy has to still contend with the astrological weather, which is that there's a push towards harmony right now. So they have to deal with that at some level. Okay. Now, the best way to utilize these insights about the shift between Virgo and Libra would be to really look at your charts, as I was saying in the beginning. Look at your charts. Where is Virgo? Where is Libra? See how you are generally concerned with detail wherever Virgo is in your chart. See what kind of a relationship you have to the big picture wherever Libra is in your chart. The insights or the reading that I'm sharing with you about Mercury in these signs is also going to help you with other planets in Virgo and Libra. Again, I'm happy to assist you with that. So if you're not personally able to translate all of this to your chart, you can you can share your question, and if it's something that I can answer at the level of a comment, I'll be happy to do that. Mercury is going to move through Libra really fast, 17 days. So it's my sense is that it's going to feel a little bit disorienting because it's been in Virgo for so long. And let's say that you're in a class and you've been dealing with the cell and its components and cellular functioning, and suddenly on October 5th, we're dealing with the whole body, big picture. How do all the cells harmonize with each other? And we've spent so much time on the cell, and now we only have 17 days for the whole body. In esoteric astrology, both the Mercury ruled signs, Gemini and Virgo, have a higher ruler, and that is Venus. So esoteric astrology is slightly different than other systems of astrology because for esoteric astrology, the focus is the soul. The focus of the chart is not just how is this person's personality going to develop, or what kind of events are they going to have to deal with, what kind of learning they are undergoing at the level of their person. Esoteric astrology also looks at the chart in terms of the level at which the person is able to integrate their soul's energy into their current incarnation, or how they are able to do that, or what are going to be the avenues through which the person is going to be able to experience the energy of their soul, what level of spiritual initiation they have been through. All of this we look at in the chart through esoteric astrology. So the fact that Venus is the ruler of higher esoteric ruler of Gemini and Virgo, that tells us that when Mercury is in Libra, when Mercury is in Venus's domain, there is the spiritual potential of us being able to see the big picture of life itself. See, Mercury is a messenger, right? So it is in charge of passing on messages from the material world to the spiritual world and back. It is in charge of showing us how these realms are different. It is in charge of helping us process data that is material and helping us process data that is spiritual, help us come up with different methods to identify what is material and what is spiritual and how do they come together, what are the differences, what are the similarities. But with Venus, it's different. With Venus, we are not just concerned with what is spiritual and what is material, but as I was saying earlier, what is the right relationship between them? They are not equal. Just as all the ingredients in a dish are not equal. So when they go into the dish in the right proportion, at the right scale, then we have a fantastic dish. So with Mercury being in Libra, this higher level of Mercury itself can get activated, where we are not just studying what is material and what is spiritual, but we are able to harmonize them. We are able to understand what should go into what, how much, what part of my life, how much of my life should be focused on whether I got the job or not, and how much of my heart should be focused on what am I able to access of myself through this work. Does my soul sing when I'm engaged with this work? Not just what kind of career progression is possible for me, but how am I going to grow in this line of work, in this field of work. So with Mercury being in Libra, there is the potential of us being able to access higher realities through our mind, access realms that do not belong to the mind through the mind. So being able to read about, I don't know, supernatural realities, I don't know, like lots of different things are there are so many things that are not mental, right? But with Mercury in Libra, the mind can become the path through which we can access realities that don't belong to the mind. And through the mind, figure out what is the right relationship between ourselves and those other realities. So that's Mercury moving from Virgo into Libra. I hope it's a productive time for you. And I look forward to your questions if you have them. Talk to you soon.